Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Vallen, and this is Astral Sorcery for Minecraft 1.12 and up. Today I'll be showing you how to get a quick start into the mod as well as take you through it and all the changes that have been made. I plan to do a longer series on this, so sit back and relax as I show you Astral Sorcery, bit by bit. For those that are new to Astral Sorcery, you might be asking yourself, what is this mod about? If you're familiar with Thaumcraft, it is kind of a magical mod, but the research and magical abilities that you may gain will vary and differ greatly. So it is a magic mod. It's a lot of fun. It's primarily based at night, but as you progress through it, you can also, do the things that you need to do during the daytime. There are lots of things, and how you balance your opportunities to get things done are always going to be, well, in conflict with others if you're playing on a server. Because specifically, you need to start a lot of this at nighttime, as I said. But there are ways to do that, still progress during the day. And I'm going to try and show you a quick and easy way of getting into this mod, and also introduce you to it at the same time. So to start with, if you have Astral Sorcery installed, I highly recommend some kind of mapping program. Like in the top right corner, I currently have Journey Map. This is going to help you a lot. If not, then you're going to need to know the option to press F3 and see your XYZ coordinates at the top left there. This will help you in locating specifically some items that you're going to be needing a little bit later on. But before we get too far into this, I am going to show you how to start, and that is with your journal. The journal is a very simple contraption that is made with, if you don't start with it, or if you die for some reason, let's say you died and fell in some lava and your journal got burned up and you need to make a new one, not to worry, you can make another one. And you don't need to have access to any magical powers in order to do so. But I should make you aware of the things that you will find in Astral Sorcery to start, like Faint Amaranth. Faint Amaranth, when you punch it, will give you, well, glowstone. Probably just one piece. You can also harvest it with a pair of shears and replant it. It's just kind of a decorative thing, and it's a little easy access way of getting yourself some glowstone. You'll find it dotted around the landscape, and it will give off a very faint lighting effect, maybe like 1 or 2 levels. So it's nothing too big, but you will notice it if there's no light sources nearby. That being said, there are other things like this giant altar that you see here. Now, I am currently showing you one that I modified to turn into sort of a base of operations for myself, but you get the idea. There are going to be multiple different shrines that you may find as we go along the way. This is an example of one that has been, as I said, slightly modified. I added some stairs and some, plants and some droopy water effects, starlight, etc. But the idea is basically the same. You'll see some large structure that will more than likely look something like this in the overworld. Typically in higher climes, if not colder ones, you'll find something along this. Probably won't have the little faint amaranths around it. They might just be dotted around the landscape as normal. But there are other shrines. Allow me to teleport around and show you some of the others that you might experience. This is an example of probably the most common shrine you're going to come in and, well, find in the world. And that's this one here. It's basically going to be made primarily of marble, and the idea that you're going to want to first start out with Astral Sorcery, I recommend you get yourself a pick, get yourself a shovel, get yourself a weapon, and you go exploring. You find one of these things and you found yourself a limited amount of treasure, because if you break any of these pillars here, underneath one of them you may find yourself a chest with multiple items inside. You can, of course, grab these items and you can make very great use of them as you go, which you will need to do, like constellation papers and aquamarine. And as you can see here, it says here, I memorized a drawing of Dissidia. You add a tab to the journal to keep track of it. Now don't forget, I have a journal to start with. I will show you how to make one. But assuming that you have made one already, you can right-click here and you have 2 options, your Knowledge tab and your Constellations. If I click Constellations, I have discovered Dissidia because of that constellation paper that I grabbed. Now there are 5 bright constellations currently, and there are some fainter ones as you progress. But the 5 ones are going to be the ones you're going to be looking for to start. Going back to Knowledge, you have your Discovery tab in here, which will also walk you through the beginnings of this. But we're not getting into that just yet. because I'm still showing you some things. I would recommend that if you are taking all the items in the chest, that therefore you might as well just take the entire shrine itself. You will probably need a lot, if not all, of the marble that is used around here for your own uses. So you're going to want to make sure you've got plenty of space in your inventory to store your different types of marble, as well as the other items that you may locate in the treasure chests themselves. And don't forget, if you have a journal, if you shift right click, you gain access to a little area that you can store your constellation papers, and therefore they won't clog up your inventory since you'll be having stacks and stacks of different marbles. Now here is an example of another type of shrine, and that's a desert shrine. This one here is a little bit different. You don't usually notice it as much. It might actually be buried under some sand. You'll have some difficulty in probably locating it, if only because it doesn't stick up very much, but you might notice some of the chiseled marble bits sticking out. What you're going to want to do then is try and dig down into it, and eventually you might find your way into a little crystal chamber underneath, which might be very useful later on, as well as some starter items. Yay! And here you can see I am underground. I'm in spectator mode, so I can fly around through the stone. Once I go inside of this area here, this shrine is very special. Reason I say that is because it is a treasure shrine. You may find it in your travels, connected to some kind of spelunking tunnel. And if you do, you might want to make sure that you have yourself some kind of pick so that you can take advantage of this. You have a stone in the center, you just mine it, and it will give you random ores and stones as you just keep on mining it for a very long time. And of course, largest and definitely not least is going to be one of these shrines. Digging underneath of it, you will find another one of these little areas where you can gain new constellation papers. Some other expensive items might be left about in some of the chests that might be below. Looks at that. I've got several constellation papers now, a few bones just in case. And then I've got, of course, I actually turned this into my own area, so I've got my own stuff. But if you find one of these here, this little floating crystal as you see, this is going to be very important because it's going to allow you to progress in the mod. But just in case you still have no journal, I will show you how you can craft one very quick and easy. If I walk over here to the crafting table, recipe for it is just going to be, and it says in JEI, which is just enough items, the recipes mod that I have on the side here, it will show you that you can craft it on a luminous crafting table, which I believe you can, but you don't have to have one. It's actually craftable in a regular crafting table. First, you need to make some parchment paper with some paper and aquamarine, and you make yourself a journal by using more aquamarine and a book. Therefore, you can obtain yourself a journal in case it is lost for any reason, though it will lose any constellation papers that were put in it if it does get destroyed. Something else you should know about. There are other ores. There's 2 ores to be specific, and I'm going to show you only just one of them at the moment. This is aquamarine shale. If you dig it up with a shovel or your hand in this case, you'll pick yourself up aquamarine, which as you saw, I also found in some of the chests up there. I did not place these. These spawned naturally into the world. You can see them easily by their kind of blue cracked appearance in the sand here. So I recommend if you see any of these that you also pick those up because they do have a lot of different uses in this mod. All right, let's get into this. I want to progress with the mod. I've run around the world, I've gathered a bunch of constellation papers, I have myself a journal and a bunch of materials, I have myself, more importantly, a diamond pickaxe, as well as access to ender pearls. Therefore, I can begin the mod. If you are lucky enough, you might find ender pearls in some of the chests around here, or even fight an enderman as you travel. But it's something that you should be aware of, that you will need access to those in order to even start the mod. And you will find out why as we open this up into Discovery. Now Discovery, if you open it up just by right-clicking, you'll have this little thing here. You can left-click, drag it around, and you can see that there's nothing else really to see. It's really cool looking, and if you scroll on your mouse, you can therefore zoom in until you eventually get to the important items that you can learn. Now, if you want to know the progression of this mod, some things will progress by themselves. For instance, we've got marble, we've got sooty marble. Marble will lead to sooty marble, so you need one in order to make the other. Otherwise, you notice these little strands going from one area to the next, that shows you the progression of some of these items. So you'll need to have access to these ores, as well as an ancient shrine, in order to make a resonating wand. Plus, you might find in ancient shrines constellation papers, which will help you progress in the mod as well. Once you have a resonating wand, you should be able to make a luminous crafting table. Very basic, very easy stuff. So, with the marble, obviously there are lots of different shapes and styles that you can make. It's just a matter of putting them in a crafting table. Then you have your sooty marble, which is made with any of the different kinds of Astral Sorcery marbles. Put around a piece of coal will get you 8 sooty marble, and that's basically just a darkened version of marble that you can use for different crafting in that way, in a similar aspect as well as the regular marble. So you basically have your white and black marble styles as you would like. Now, in order to actually progress, what you need to do is find an ancient shrine, as I said, with one of these crystals. Once you do so, you will have to have had obtained aquamarine shale, or the aquamarine gems, as I showed you, so that you can create a wand. So, to start with, you're going to need at least a couple pieces of some sort of marble, a couple aquamarine, and 1 ender pearl. Plus, you're going to need a crafting table. Reason being is that the crafting table needs to be put down somewhere near this floating crystal. It doesn't have to be in the center. I just like doing that. But when you put it down, you'll start seeing a light beam shoot down from this crystal, as you can see here when I've got a darker background set behind it. You now have starlight coming down on here. You just put a couple of pieces of your marble, your ender pearl, and those 2 aquamarine pieces, and you get yourself a resonating wand. There you go. What does a resonating wand do? Well, basically, this will allow you to finish recipes as well as it will allow you to find specific ores. As I said before, there are 2 ores in this mod. I've only shown you one of them, and that's the aquamarine shale. The other one are rock crystals. Rock crystals come in an ore. Once mined, it will yield several rock crystals. You really can't mine them with any kind of quarrying system. You have to mine them by hand and with a diamond pickaxe. If you have anything less than that, you will just destroy the ore and not obtain the crystals. So, in order to find these rock crystal ores, you will need to go out into the world holding your resonating wand at nighttime. It cannot be day. And you will start seeing these glowing light effects on the ground. What that means is that all the way down at the bottom, say around Y level 4 or 5, you'll find rock crystal ore. Probably just 1, you might find 2. Unheard of, you might even find 3. But you're going to need to go all the way down to the bottom and find these. And this can be quite challenging. You know, you're digging straight down, going into like a lake of lava, or you find yourself in a pit or a crevice or something of that nature. What I recommend you do, if you have a mapping program like Journey Map, you then use it to start mapping all these out. As you can see here, I have rock crystal 1, 2, 3, and 4 currently marked on my map, and therefore I have them highlighted. Easy to find, right? I recommend you edit them when you are setting them. So you just kind of get to the center of where the glowing area is, and then when you land here, that you create a new marker. Basically, you just click on here, you create new, but instead of that Y level, you change it to about Y level 4 or 5, and therefore it will create the dot, as you can see here, way down there so you can find it easier. Now, of course, as you get closer, those will disappear if you're using this map program, but you know that you're within the right area. Another way of doing that is to use F3, as I stated at the beginning of the video. Write down your XYZ coordinates and use those. Plus, what I recommend instead of going all the way down each individual one and digging all the way, is to instead make a mining shaft that leads to them all. Allow me to demonstrate. So I've created a couple paths. One is a ladder that goes all the way down to pretty much bedrock. The other one is just a shaft that I can quickly jump down into. There we go. I connected the two so that I could easily get up and out as well as progress down here. And you can see that I have these things on my map. I then just kind of traveled along. Finding some diamonds along the way was very nice. It was just happened. I did not actually place those there. And then as you travel along and you get closer and closer, you can then make an offshoot branch. Now you're going to have to be still very cautious about lava. Feel free to just kind of divert around lava lakes. But then you'll get into an area where you know that you're close, and all you need to do then is start digging. Eventually you'll find yourself some rock crystal ore. Like I said, usually around level 4 or 5, you will find these. In this case, that one was around 3. I've got a few more here. This one is right there, just in the floor. And then you just keep on digging yourself a shaft. At the same time, you're also mining more materials that you might be needing or using. This one was up at Y level 5. And then the last one here I had is all the way at the end. There we go. And I think it's, where is it? There it is, down here at Y level 4. So you can see that it's basically going to be a little bit simpler, not necessarily easy because you are going to have to do mining, but hey, you have to do mining anyway. So if you take your first 3 diamonds, get yourself a diamond pick, get yourself that first resonating wand, find those and immediately start doing this, you'll be digging yourself out all the materials that you'll be needing for playing Minecraft anyway. So you might as well get 2 birds with 1 stone. So here we have a rock crystal ore. I've got my diamond pick. Manually mine that up, and I got myself a couple rock crystals. Now that's the most common yield. If you get something with fortune, if you put that on your pick, you're probably going to increase your yield. In fact, it'll be quite considerable. You typically will get anywhere from 1 to 3 rock crystals. Most common you'll get 1 or 2. And if you've got a really good fortune enchantment on there, then you're really going to find a lot more. There we go, that's the last of them. Each one has different properties. If you hold shift while holding these, you might see something of interest, but right now it says something seems to be here, but you can't tell what it is yet. You're going to be needing these in the end, so you don't need to worry about the stats on them, but each one will have something different. All right, here we are back upstairs. I have my journal, and we've already achieved the resonating wand. The purpose of this was so that we could create a luminous crafting table. Luminous crafting table is a very basic recipe: marble, sooty marble, and a regular crafting table. In fact, you could try to make one of these straight away. In fact, I did not grab all the materials I needed, so let me just grab all these here, and I should be good to go. To start with, I need to make some sooty marble, so I'll be putting that down, surrounding this with a bunch of marble, make a little bit of that. Then we need to take a little bit more marble, put it down the sides, sooty marble, as well as a crafting table, put it on here. So you will have to have at least 2 crafting tables for this entire function. And you've got your luminous crafting table, all made directly underneath a floating crystal, which at this point, you now have another use for your resonating wand besides finding and locating rock crystals. So now that we have a luminous crafting table, what does it do? It's basically going to be your crafting table for all of Astral Sorcery, but this is just the first tier. This is your basic luminous crafting table. There are multiple levels to this, and that is why you are still in discovery. So if I am to craft something on here though, you're going to want to be aware that you will need your resonating wand to activate it. You can use it as a regular crafting table. As you can see here, I am going to be making just a pillar, which I could feasibly make with a regular crafting table, a couple pieces of marble, and I make myself a marble pillar. But instead, I'm going to show you how this works on the luminous crafting table. The luminous one, you can't pull things out here on the right. What you need to do is back out, and it will retain the inventory as you see here. Take your resonating wand and right-click the table. It will then activate and start creating the item that was in question. In this case, those marble pillars didn't need any starlight in order to be made. They could be made, as you saw here, on a regular crafting table, even though it's actually being shined upon by that crystal over there. But depending on where you put your luminous crafting table, your starlight may be very bright, it may not. Allow me to further demonstrate. Now right now it is the middle of the night, which is the highest level of starlight that you could possibly get. Let me put this down over here. You'll see that I've got some starlight. The reason for this is that it was very close to that luminous crafting, it was very close to that crystal down there, so therefore we were getting a very good ratio. But right here in this area, I'm only getting a little bit, and I'm at Y level 108. Now, if I go up higher in the same spot, I'm actually going to be getting a little bit more starlight on this table. So if I go all the way up as high as, excuse me, Pigu, 120 Y level, then you'll get your maximum amount that you could possibly get in this location. Now, this might be a bit confusing. How come the starlight is a little bit higher here? It's not actually going to get any higher the further I go up at this point. This is going to be your maximum level is Y level 120. I know I'm at 122 right now, but just bear with me. If you are at a different location, you may find that some things are going to give you, or some areas are going to give you more starlight than others. So just picking up the table and placing it elsewhere may benefit you by finding out that, you know what, there's a much better star field over in this area as opposed to the other, or much worse. If you are doing this closer to day, then you're going to get even less results. For example, if the moon is about to cycle into daytime, I would get even less effect than I would at the middle of the night. If it's currently day, I might not get any starlight at all on this. Or, depending upon the area, I might actually get a pretty decent amount like I am now. So, how do you find these out? To start with, you're just going to have to do a little searching around. But otherwise, you can now progress into the next chapter, Exploration, which I will take you to in the next bit-by-bit episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this little quick start into Astral Sorcery. I look forward to continuing on as plenty of things have changed, primarily with the middle and late game. Not as much with the early game, but there is a little bit different. I hope you guys enjoyed. If so, be sure to give a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, spread the mischief to others. And until the next episode, I'll see ya.